What's up, chess player? Welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, the place where you can improve every aspect of your chess game. And today I want to show you an incredible opening as you can play as black, and that is called the Philidor defense. I'm executing it right now here, and that is a very good one. I play it for a lot of years now, and especially in the blitz or rapid games it works fantastically because if you know your stuff, you are basically unbeatable here. So bishop c4 is the main move. Now there are some sacrifices on f7, although unfortunately people don't go for it that often because objectively it's not such a great thing, but you just have to know what to do as black here. And g4 in all variations is a very interesting option for white to try to shake the position here and try to be as aggressive as possible, and especially in faster time controls it might work very good. But the right way to play g4 is to do it immediately instead of the move bishop c4, because now there are some knight b6 ideas. Not sure what is the right execution of the knight b6. Should I take first and after rook g1 play knight b6, or should I play it right away? So knight b6 takes, knight c4 takes, bishop takes, g5. Yes, some initiative. Although I can take here on c3 as well. If he takes on f7, I just take it back. Takes, even knight g4, although knight g5 check. Wait, bishop takes. Knight g5 first, but then it's not dangerous. Yeah, so takes. If I take here, then his bishop is still hanging. And the pawn on e5 is still hanging. He can take on d4, but I might even take there on c4, takes, queen takes. And it feels like... okay, everything is equal. But I'm pretty active there. Okay, and knight g4, rook g1, knight b6. Seems like I'm just winning a pawn. I have some difficulties with my pawns afterwards, but a pawn is a pawn. Yeah, let me go for knight b6. I mean, I have never had this exact position, so let's see what's gonna happen there. You can play g5, but it's absolutely nothing. I just take on c4. You can play bishop b5 check, but it's also nothing because I just play c6, so I'm not sure what his idea was. I guess to take on e5, or maybe he just missed the knight b6 idea altogether. So knight takes g4 isn't my agenda. Normally just taking on c4, letting the white player to take on f6, bishop takes f6 is very good for black, but in this exact case there is g5. And g5 is a little bit annoying because if I go back there is knight to d5, the knight is very active there, attacking the bishop. Although I have this bishop takes c3 check, ruining the pawn structure completely for white. We have opposite colors bishops, I get to castle, and the attack is pretty much over, so yeah, that feels like an option. Although now I start noticing that there is queen to d4 in the end of the day, the knight is hanging, the queen is very active in the center, so yeah, maybe you have already lost my variation altogether. So what I'm talking about is d takes e, knight takes c4, pawn takes, bishop takes, g5, bishop takes c3 check, pawn takes, castles, now queen d4. And now knight e5 is not really an option. Maybe it is. Sacrificing the pawn here, rook e8, and I have some compensation. But it all doesn't matter at all because he sacrificed the bishop here immediately. So now my variation was if he takes, I have knight takes g4, and unless I'm missing something, that should be good for me, because knight g5 check is not an option, queen d5 check is also not an option. Takes here, I just take it back with the queen, because I really want to keep an eye on this g5 square with my bishop. Otherwise, I don't know what he's planning to, but I'm gonna take it. Because taking back on e5 doesn't feel good, knight takes e5 check. Why would I allow that? Although even that doesn't feel that dangerous. But if I have knight g4, I'm willing to go for it. e6, bishop e6, e takes d, queen takes d6, knight g5, bishop g5. So show me your compensation. You are a very strong player, 24-67. So you apparently had some idea in mind when you sacrifice a piece. but to me it feels like a bluff. By the way, even if you are playing against a very strong opponent, don't just take their word that they see everything, that they are sure that it's gonna work for them. Maybe they are just bluffing you, or maybe they don't see something, because they're also human beings and we all miss some things. So here it seems like white has nothing at all, to be honest. Yes, my king is a little bit exposed there on f7, but it's just theoretical things. One thing that matters is whether there is something he can make against my king or not. If he doesn't, then I'm just winning the game. That's as simple as that, so let's see. What I want to do is, of course, just to take on e5. I'm not sure with a pawn or with a knight, kind of like both of the options, because taking with a pawn is threatening to exchange the queens, and as long as the queens are off the board, it's just 0-1 for black. Meanwhile, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video so far. I try to provide as much use as possible for you playing these 10 minutes games, so I have enough time to explain all of my thoughts to you as if I'm playing a real game. And let me know in the comments what you think about this Philidor opening, because I have shown it to you so many times in my videos, how I play it, how I execute the plans and what are the plans there. Now you could see some variations what happens if white sacrifices bishop on f7. You could see that it's not really that dangerous, even though it might feel scary at some point. So I can sincerely recommend you try this opening. Then if something goes wrong, you can come back to this video or any other one for that matter and let me know what goes wrong for you, so I can explain it to you what is the right way to go about it. So e6, I'm not sure what is the point. I guess not to let me open up the position, not to open up the d file, and yeah, put some pressure. I actually like this idea, because here it feels like he still has something to show. I'm still not in time. 96 is a threat. Maybe I can just step back a little bit, because if I go back with a knight, then he gets my king all the way to e6. Maybe it's not such a big deal anyway, because the more pieces I exchange, the simpler it is for me to neutralize his activity. So actually I'm gonna go for it. And yes, for the moment it might feel like, oh my god, the king is on e6, I'm gonna lose. But once again, all that matters is whether he has threats or not. Okay, now I definitely feel like I have to go somewhere. Also, queen d7 is also an option, because that kind of prepares the move. Bishop g4, for example, f4, I have bishop g4. And then I have some rook f8, king g8. Yeah, f4, f5 is kind of annoying. So another idea is just to come back with a bishop, but then I feel like I don't have a lot of space for all of my pieces. After queen d7, I have an additional idea of c5, just kicking this knight away or making him exchange. Yeah, so let's go for the development. Development is always the most important thing in the opening, so always if you have a chance to develop a new piece, go for it. Now if I manage to play rook f8 and king g8, that should be good enough. The question is if I have time for that, because f4, f5 would be a threat. So after f4, do I play bishop g4 or do I play c5? Because if I play c5, he goes back with a knight, still f5 is a threat. And thanks to my queen d7 move, I don't have any squares for the bishop. Except for bishop c4 maybe. Maybe it can still work for me. By the way, once the knight is back on f3, it threatens knight g5. No, bishop g5, somehow it doesn't feel for me like a dangerous thing, because it takes away the squares from white pieces from the knight, it blocks the rook, he never really threatens to take, because, well, it's completely fine for me. So I can just continue with my development. Rook f8, king g8, that is called making castles by hand. I spent like 3 moves instead of 1, but well, I have won a piece in the process, so it's worth it, I would say. And then I bring another rook here, Yeah, he wants to go for long castles and then activate all of his pieces. That's all very clear and very understandable. But okay, we do what we have to do. At least I have developed everything by now. Maybe I want to bring my bishop back to open up the rook. Have to be a little bit careful with this g-file somehow. So if I have a chance, maybe I should bring my king all the way to h8. But currently, bishop h6, I have rook f7. So let's see what he has here. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like that, so you can improve every single aspect of your chess game. Let's see what he's up to. He can play something like rook f1, f4, e5, f5, but I don't know, I should come up with something. First of all, rook f1 is not possible because of bishop c4. Okay, he goes for doubling the rooks along the g-file, also makes sense. I'm curious if I can play something like knight g4, because that might allow me to exchange more stuff, which is good for me, but I have to be careful with this g-pawn. But after bishop takes and rook takes, my rook covers the g7 square, so that actually feels good. I can play f6, f3, then I have to go back, knight f5, but he never has a move f4, he can double, but it's not that dangerous. And once again, the more pieces I exchange, the simpler it gets. So let me go for it. And maybe I just blundered knight takes e6, because then my knight is in trouble. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. After knight e6, I just don't have enough defenders for the knight on g4. How was that possible? Okay, what about rook takes f2, queen e1 seems to be the logical response. And then maybe at least I don't lose that much. Because if I just take back, then knight takes e6, I'm just completely losing. Wow, that's shocking for me. It's a very simple tactic that I have missed. Why did I did that? I mean, the problem is I haven't really calculated all of the active moves of my opponent, and that is exactly what you should always do. So starting with checks, captures, and threats, knight e6 was capture, and I was focused on f3, which is a threat, but it should come after the captures. Exactly for that reason, not to miss something like that. Okay, rook e1, queen e1. And now I should take it back with rook. I guess I don't have anything better than that. Now he takes with the rook, it's fine because I take back and then I attack the rook. But he can take here first, and then I guess I have to take with the queen. Takes here, might even take here first and then take there, and I still am actually even 2 pawns up, so it's not that bad as I initially thought it would be. Because the material is equal in terms of pieces, and I have 6 pawns against 4. His king is also not that safe, and my king is actually fine on g4. Okay, so turned out to be not that bad for me. My knight is also ready to jump at the right moment. Should be careful with knight d5 though, but this e4 pawn is also hanging, so actually everything is great. The attack is over. Just need to be still a little bit careful with my king. But bringing it to h8 also doesn't feel that great because it weakens the back rank and some potential problems might arise. d5, might that be an idea? Knight takes, rook takes, queen takes, queen takes, rook takes. We have a rook's endgame, and I have 2 extra pawns. No, rook d8, king f7, rook d7, rook e7. Okay, I'm in time. That should be good, but it's now white to move. Let's see what he can do, but I don't feel that he has much of a choice. Yeah, now still e5, d5 seems to work. The pawn is pinned. If you go e5, I go d4. you can take. Yeah, maybe I'm not really threatening to take it though, because rook d8 check, king f7. Well, I don't feel that there are that many active things he can do. And once again, knight d5, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes, takes, rook d8, king f7, rook d7, rook e7. That seems to work for me, let's go for it. Maybe he has something like queen f2 though, and then I cannot take because of rook d8 checkmate. I can start with queen g6, which is gonna pin the pawn once again. And if the king goes away, then I can take. And after rook d8, I have rook e8, blocking that. Okay, he goes for the rook's endgame. I guess I have to take, because rook takes, rook d8. I mean, that's not necessary. It might be still winning, but I'm not sure if I need to take that risk. If I can get into a completely winning rook's endgame, then I guess it's what I should do. Because yes, it's gonna take more time, but I'm just sure that I'm gonna win it, and that's all you need. It doesn't matter how many moves you're gonna make, as long as you really win the game. Okay, so he's attacking all of my pawns there, but it doesn't help. So now all I need to do is create a passer, because yes, I have 2 extra pawns, but so far I don't have any passers. So I'm gonna try correct that. I guess I can even proceed with g4, because his rook is very misplaced. How on earth wants to stop my pawn? Rook d5, but king f6. Now my rook is ready to support. g2, yeah, and the pawn is just too dangerous. I guess king g7? Yeah, he just resigned. Yeah, king g7, rook h... Yeah, there is not even a way to stop. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Hit the like button if you did, and in this video I show you another completely incredible game that I have played, so you can learn the best out of it. Definitely take a look at it.